What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another movie reaction, and today we'll be watching Nomadland by Chloe Zhao. I know Frances McDormand won Best Actress, shout out to her, and the buzz talk for the Oscars was this was gonna win Best Picture. Before it even got nominated, everyone said this was gonna win Best Picture. I have high expectations for it because of that. It may have won Best Picture, it may have won Best Director. I just don't remember all the awards that were won. I have no idea what this movie is about. I just see Frances McDormand with a short haircut in a van in the middle of nowhere talking to people. Don't know the plot, don't know the premise, but still very excited to get into it. Before we begin, I do want to remind you that you can see my full-length reaction to this movie and others on my Patreon, link in the description. If not, just make sure you subscribe and leave a thumbs up on this video if you do enjoy it. It helps my channel reach a wider audience, and I greatly appreciate it. But now, it's time for the show. Let's go. The heck is that? Oh, that's the movie. Thought my fan was gonna fall on my head. Whoever owned that jacket must have meant a lot to her. Okay, pissing in public. All right. Or it's not really public. It's in the middle of nowhere. So she works for Amazon and lives in her van. Okay.
Put this little latch on it, and then when I open it, more counter space. My dishes that my dad gave me, he collected these, Linda May. He gave me the whole set.
Oh,
Isn't that great?
What did you name your van?
Vanguard.
Oh my goodness. She named her van Vanguard. She seems to be really proud of what she's able to fit and how she was able to transform the van into an actual living space. Has some little knickknacks and stuff that are important to her from her past in there. You know, make it feel like home. And we know she's a widow. She seems to be enjoying her job there.
If you need a place to stay, you can come over and stay with us. We're worried about you. Thanks. Don't worry about me. I'll let you know. I promise.
See you, Aubrey. My mom said that you're homeless. Is that true?
No, I'm not homeless. I'm just houseless. Not the same thing, right?
No.
Don't worry about me. I'm okay.
Okay.
There was definitely a tone in that woman's voice that kind of looked down on her for living in her van. And it is nice she gave her and offered her a place to stay. I think she detected it was out of pity. She doesn't have anything to be ashamed of in her eyes. So she's like, save it. You can keep it.
So I'm online and I find Bob Wells' Cheap RV Living. I could live in an RV and not have to work for the rest of my life. In Quartzsite, Arizona, out in the middle of the desert, you should come. I'm gonna make you a map.
No, I don't think I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna make you a map anyway.
That's probably the Nomadland that the title is referring to. I mean, it's cool that she has friends that are also in the same living situation as she is. Co-workers that not only understand but can relate to what she's going through. I mean, I don't feel bad for her. She seems like she's kind of proud, and you know, she does have a place to live. She has a job. She's making it work.
I asked someone, they said I could park here overnight.
You're more than welcome. The temperature's gonna drop. It gets really cold here at night.
Yeah, I know.
Really cold. I don't want to overstep my bounds here. There is a church down by 7-Eleven, and they do have open beds.
I'm gonna be good.
Okay.
Man, she is turning away every helping hand that comes her way. I mean, it's a little, people are just looking out for her. It does seem like she has too much pride. It's nice to not want anything handed to you, but if someone's trying to keep you from freezing, I don't think that's, you know, them going out of their way. That's just them being a decent human being. Oh yeah, she went for warmer pastures, and I don't blame her. Spending winters in cold weather in a van, that would push anybody to their limit. That must be the place that woman was talking about. If you're gonna live like that, I think living in a community with other people like that is the best possible option.
And my friend Bill worked for the same company. He had liver failure. HR called him in hospice and said, let's talk about your retirement. And he died 10 days later, having never been able to take that sailboat that he bought out of his driveway. And he told me before he died, just don't waste any time, Burl. So I retired as soon as I could. I didn't want my sailboat to be in the driveway when I died. And it's not. My sailboat's out here in the desert.
Man, everyone in this community dealt with some sort of loss, and living the van life is almost not out of necessity. It's more like a freeing experience for them.
To a real true community and tribe will make all the difference for you. I hope so.
That boat in the driveway analogy is still sticking in my head. That's when it's your time to go. You don't want your boat to still be in the driveway. Go now. Do it now. Whatever you want to do it now. So far, the tone of this movie is everyone yearning to heal. Not just to get by, but to live. There is an appeal to RV life. I definitely get it. Everything becomes more simpler. You tend to be grouped up with other like-minded people. You can see the country in all of its visual aesthetic glory.
I'm in a Prius, so I use a 2-gallon bucket. If you have bad knees, you could use a 7-gallon bucket.
That's pretty gross, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, what are you gonna do? You gotta poop somewhere. Oh wow, that's completely flat.
It's Fern, Swanky. It's Fern. I need a ride to town.
Well, why?
Blew my tire.
Go change it.
I don't have a spare.
You don't have a spare? You're out in the boondocks and you don't have a spare?
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty silly. Spare tires are pretty cheap. Oh, well, I mean, she doesn't just have money like that.
You can die out here. Don't you understand that? You have to be able to change your own tire.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Swanky.
You need to soak this sandpaper. It's called wet and dry. It's be wet.
She's giving her a little crash course on how to survive out there.
The fender off because the white paint will land on the fender too.
All right, let me just say that this is a lot more complicated than I thought.
It's taken me a long time to patch all the peeling paint on this van.
You don't have much. You got to preserve the few things that you do have.
I'm going to give you all my paint. I don't want to take any more of it with me. You can have it all because your van looks kind of ratty.
She does not. She just needs a wash.
No, take my paint.
How you get dissed? A wash? Really? That could use a coat of paint. Oh man, just using the toilet in the middle of your van is just, I don't see the appeal in that.
What's going on? What?
I don't feel very good. I got
Here. Sit down. What do you
my
need?
head hurts really, really bad. And I'm nauseated.
What do I
Oh
have?
yeah.
Careful, your arm. Are you okay?
Doctors told me that cancer removed from my lung a while back and small cell carcinoma. They told me it's spread to my brain, and they've only given me 7 or 8 months to live.
I'm sorry.
Jeez, man, what the hell? That is heavy.
I'm going to be 75 this year. I think I've lived a pretty good life. Big white pelicans landing just 6 feet over my kayak and find hundreds and hundreds of swallow nests on the swallows flying all around, reflecting in the water so it looks like I'm flying with the swallows. It was just so awesome. I felt like I'd done enough. My life was complete. If I died right then, that moment, I'd be perfectly fine.
She's looking at her death so gracefully and it's poetic. She's appreciative of the stuff she did do and the time she did have on this earth. Doesn't want to take the little bit of time she has left for granted.
My friends will gather around a fire, toss a rock into the fire in memory of me. Oh, I just see something neat. Oh.
That's why she's giving everything away. That's the main reason, because she's passing, not really because she's traveling. At least she's controlling how she goes out, when she goes out.
We're gonna drink to the friends who had to go away. Bet you know just who I mean. Friends who had to depart, the friends in our heart. Hear the blues in my beer. Just help me smile away the tears.
Help me smile away the tears. That seems to be the theme of this movie. Smile away the tears. That's a good way to look at life. It's a way to get through. Look how awesome that looks. Man, what I would give to see some stuff like that and experience stuff like that. See how I'm talking? This is what they're saying. I should just go out and experience this stuff. A lot of reflection, looking back on your own life and where it's at now, where it could be, how it got here, what could have changed.
I may help you. The tour will be in about 15 minutes.
Wait right here?
You can wait if you want here. I've got a great map of the local area here. We have the summer activities right here. You can take one with you if you like.
It's going to be really exciting. And to see what happens as they start to get like sand. That's why it's so easy for paleontologists to find fossils in here. Look, it's little bubbles of gas.
Oh yeah, she's a rock person, I think. I think like rocks and minerals turn her on. Well, I don't know if they turn her on, but they make her happy. She's really interested in them. So she's probably freaking out being here. Like a play place.
See you for a while, but you come and see me.
Oh, she's done with the road life, I think. This is like her send-off.
You have given me so much.
Yeah, having a friend like that, someone you form that close a bond with in a life like that, that's everything. Hopefully this guy can fill that void for her in more ways than one. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. Ugh. Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, we're close.
When nature calls, you answer. At least it was just urine.
Hey, how's it going? Good. Can I take these tomatoes and onions? Yes.
If you work all these different types of jobs to support the current area that you're in or traveling to, it makes you a pretty well-rounded person. Learn a lot of different tricks and tips and crafts. Experience all different walks of life.
Yeah, he wants you. He wants you next. Get in there. I don't want to be the one. He's gonna come right through the glass.
I don't know why she's all of a sudden warming up to this guy. Maybe because he had the surgery and she feels a little bad. That's probably what it was. She feels a little bad. It was just a plate and she fixed it.
Stars blow up and they shoot atoms out into space, sometimes land on Earth, nourish the soil. They become part of you. So hold out your right hand and look at a star. There are atoms of stars that blew up eons ago that landed on this planet. Now they're in your hand.
I've always heard that you're made of stardust and stuff like that. Everyone loves astronomy. Space is so cool. Oh, that's Swanky. That's the one that's terminal.
I'd probably recommend taking that money and putting it towards a different vehicle.
No, well, I can't do that. I spent a lot of time and money. A lot of people don't understand the value of that, but I live in there. It's my home. Yeah, I'm being stubborn. Well, I think you're being a bitch.
That is not how you ask someone for help or money. I mean, until you have things situated, I think you should just get all the help you need till you get back on your feet, you know. Stay with someone. Work a regular job. Stack the money up. Have a good nest egg before you head out. You know, you can't just be living paycheck to paycheck on the road. It's just impossible. It's impossible. You never know what's gonna happen. A medical expense, car expense.
Hi.
Hi, Fern. That doorbell works.
Yeah, well, I didn't hear it, so. Hey.
Figured it was her sister. The way they're talking to each other. Her sister looks pretty well off.
Go into debt just to buy a house I can't afford.
Fern, that's a rather limited look at what we do.
Is it limited, George?
I mean, we're not all in a position to just chuck everything and hit the road.
Oh, you think that's what I've done, George? I chucked everything to hit the road? That's what I did.
All right, sorry.
Man, she's so defensive. You gotta walk on eggshells around her. I mean, she's your sister. She doesn't want you to live on the road if you don't have to. She'll have a room for you, you know? That's it, just a hug and a walk away. So she doesn't have to live this way. Like most of the people we've seen so far in this movie, they just choose to. I figured hers was out of necessity. She hit the coast. I forgot someone said they were on the coast. I can't remember which one of her friends. Oh no, that's the dude. Oh, nice. Nice. I mean, she hates the whole room thing. She hates beds, apparently. She hates houses. So for her to come here and do this with him, it's kind of big. It's big for her.
Because you're staying.
Yeah, I never expected to. Never thought I'd spend another night under a roof.
This is a really nice place, Dave.
Because of that little guy. That little cute face right there changed everything. You know how grandparents feel about their babies. Oh my goodness. Can't pull them away from them. Especially when they're still babies.
Go with your sleep.
Look at all those.
I don't know how many they have.
Damn, that's a what? They got a whole farm. That looks delicious.
And they're not. No, they're harder.
She seems to be enjoying herself. Everyone seems to be really receptive of her. She gonna leave in the middle of the night. Oh, she's probably just, she can't sleep. Old habits die hard. I was gonna say, is it really that bad? You know? But I'm not at that age. It could really be at that age where she left home at a young age. Who's to say when I get older, I won't feel that way too? Like, nah, man, I just gotta be on the road. I can't be in the house. I can't. But I'm the complete opposite. I love being at home. I mean, look what I do. I make YouTube videos. If I never had to leave my house, I wouldn't. Well, not maybe never, but I'm a homebody. Love it, love it, love it. This whole Nomadland experience to me is completely out of my comfort zone. Maybe I should try it. She's like a kid when she gets around these different landscapes and this beautiful scenery and nature. She's soaking it all in.
Happy New Year!
Man, she went back on the road. She just couldn't do it. It's like Cyclical. Everything's starting over again. Wow, so that means her friend must have passed. If she only gave her a certain amount of time? She only had 7-8 months to live, right? They're gonna throw rocks in the fire for her. Damn.
See you down the road, Swanky.
Swanky.
If If I didn't stay, if I left, it would be like he never existed. I couldn't pack up and move on. He loved his work so much. It's like my dad used to say, what's remembered lives. I maybe spent too much of my life just remembering.
I can relate. I rarely ever talk about my son. Today would be his 33rd birthday, and 5 years ago he took his life. And I can still barely say that in a sentence. And for a long time, every day was, the question was, how can I be alive on this earth when he's not? And those were some hard days. I realized that I could honor him by helping people and serving people. It gives me a reason to go through the day. Some days that's all I've got. I can look down the road and I can be certain in my heart, see my son again. You'll see Bo again. And you can remember your lives together then.
This guy gives great advice. Nothing is ever finite. Always hope, expect, pray for the best to happen.
You sure you don't need any of this stuff?
Don't need any of it, I'm good.
Oh, wow. He's completely shutting down that. Oh, is this the place that she worked at? Yep. Is that why she's on the road? Because she just can't stand being in the house that her husband died in? I think that's what it is. It just reminds her of home life, her husband. This all comes down to her husband. She misses him so bad. Damn, that is the most beautiful backyard I've ever seen landscape-wise. I mean, look at the background. You got the mountains in your backyard? What? Oh my God. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Nomadland. The best word to use to describe this movie is forceful. It was definitely made to invoke feeling, to get you to think, to get you to realize what's important, to reflect. You don't know what other people are going through. You don't know why they do what they do, what they lost, what they have. It's just kind of reflection of the part of America that we don't really see or talk about. I'm sure there are scores of people. The acting was great. It seemed like every one of these actors actually lived that type of life and they weren't acting. It looked more like a documentary almost. I'd say the most prevalent theme, and besides nature and freedom, is loss and dealing with loss and grief and processing it, and how that is a main motivating factor for a lot of people that choose that type of lifestyle. I had no idea that they were still nomads out to this day. I remember nomads were back when I would read about them in history books. Native Americans were known as nomads because they moved from place to place. So I knew what nomad meant, and I got the gist of the idea when they first explained it, but it's way deeper than that. And the whole movie kind of hinted at her living this life just because she was a free spirit, just because she had grief, that she just wanted to find some type of happiness in nature, you know, or just have companionship. And she had more in common with people that she was meeting on the road like her. But it more comes down to she just couldn't be in that house anymore. It reminded her too much of her husband, which is understandable. That is, I'm not married. I couldn't imagine being with someone for so long, losing them, and having to live in the same house. It's impossible. It seems impossible. The way the landscape paints the sky. It sits in the background, and amongst all these heartbreaking scenes and revelations, It's happening in these beautiful places. You also get a feel for the handiness that nomads have. I mean, all this common stuff that we take for granted are little around the house handyman jobs that are minor inconveniences for us. That's their whole life. If a shelf doesn't drop down or they get a flat tire, like their whole world kind of falls apart. If they don't have the right screw for something, you know, they don't just have a drawer full of that stuff dedicated to just random junk that we don't need. Like every space in there is accounted for and has a purpose. I am glad that they touched on friendship, how important that was to her. This woman really didn't like being tied down to anything except her friends, and they left her. She didn't leave them. Everyone has plans, everyone has to move on, and they all kind of went back to their families if they had any. You know, she still has family, and she's like, no thank you, there's more to this, there has to be. Like I said, this is a movie completely out my comfort zone. I'm completely the opposite, so this was a pretty good glimpse into a lifestyle that I'll probably never experience, that I don't plan on. I should say don't plan on experience, not that I never will. I can see why it was acclaimed. The directing was great. The directing was probably the best part of this. On top of Frances's acting, the shots were perfect. From when she was in Amazon, to the bright landscapes painting the sky, to her celebrating New Year's by herself, to the way she looked at houses and her whole demeanor and experience inside of them, being in the kitchen, you know, everything was just lined up perfectly visually. I can see why this movie was, I can tell visually why it was great. I'm sure there are a ton of articles online on why this was nominated for so many awards and why it speaks to the heart of Americans that kind of go unheard or we don't hear about. It was a really good movie. It came out at the perfect time for people to be appreciative of their older ones in the situation that was going on. I don't want to say the word because you know how YouTube is. I was waiting to see that moment where she finally settled down, and she just never did it. To see where she finally caved in and just realized, like, I can't do this like this forever. I at least have to have some stability for a while. Even with the guy, I thought that was it. Nope. She is the freest of free birds. She cannot be tied down. Great person, just not like me or you. I don't know if this was the best picture of 2020. I've seen some other movies from 2020. Like The Sound of Metal blew my mind. Like The Sound of Metal, I kind of prefer that over this movie. I have to see more pictures from that year and realize what movies were from that year and compare it. But is it probably top 5 from that year? No question. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Definitely deserved that nomination. That was Nomadland. If there was anything I might have missed, or if there was anything that stood out to you in particular in this movie, please tell me about it in the comments below. I hope you enjoy watching my reaction. All I ask is that you leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. You can also catch my full-length reaction to this movie and others on my Patreon, link in the description. You guys are the best. We're basically family now. I hope you know that. That's it for me. Until next time, spread peace and love. I'm out.